It's canning season. These are some of the most popular and unique recipes. I'm going to start with more mainstream style recipes and then get into the very fun ones, so make sure to stick around for the fun ones towards the end. Salsa and salsa verde. You can these a little bit differently. There are a ton of different recipes for both of these, and so I'm going to show you how to can the salsa verde because this one's a little bit more unique. Of course, you could also freeze these. I found I really like frozen salsa and I really like canned salsa. But having canned salsa from fresh grown tomatoes or tomatillos, which I have quite a bit in my freezer still from last year that I still need to use even after making these and after making freezer salsa. But these are great to just be able to pop and go and they're not frozen. Salsa verde, salsa, always good. Tomatillo salsa starts out by preparing your tomatillos and your peppers, which you can do quite a few different ways. You can do it on a stovetop or in the broiler. I did it in the broiler, but I could have let these get way darker colored. But once they came out of the oven, I am getting them into the blender to mash them up. This recipe does call for tomatillos, green chilies, jalapenos, onions, lime juice, garlic, cumin, oregano, salt, and pepper. And you can adjust the seasonings the way that you would like, but you cannot adjust any of the other ingredients. One thing to look out for is when you're adding something like a jarred garlic, you want to make sure that there's no thickeners in your garlic, like a cornstarch. You want it to be just garlic. Otherwise, use fresh or use powdered. But once it's been boiling for the full allotted amount of time, we will get these into jars as normal. I'm using 1/2 pint jars, and I am going to get these filled to 1/2 an inch of headspace. And then, of course, as always, we are going to make sure our headspace is exactly where it needs to be. We will wipe the rims, and anytime there's something sticky, I like to wipe the rims with vinegar, not just water, and usually I use vinegar. And then we will get the lids and rings on finger tight, which is a little tighter than you would think, but it's not cranking it down. And then we will get these jars into a water bath canner and process for the proper amount of time for the elevation that you're at. And then turn the canner off and then let it sit for about 5 minutes before taking the jars out of the canner. Of course, you want to let your jars then sit for about 24 hours, and then the next day, remove your rings, check your seals, and wash your jars. And once you've verified that your jars are sealed, you can put your jars in your cabinet after labeling them, and if they haven't sealed, get them in the fridge to use them in the next few days.